Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minions with me tonight are Inquisitor,
Hello.
Shady Grin,
Hello.
Cryptic.
Ah, shit. I gotta get my license renewed.
For the first time being announced as a minion, if I'm not mistaken, and also being announced as the new Apprentice Keeper, Johnny Hellcat.
Hello.
How
That's
goes
not
it?
Johnny Hellcat. That's Prospero.
How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. So I've got something to ask you gents here. I'm just gonna open this up here. Let me screen share here.
Okay, let me click it in once you do.
Dun, dun, dun. Share. There you go. This is a Death Corps of Krieg soldier. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys say that looks like a Nazi?
No.
It just looks like a soldier with a gas mask to me.
Yeah, the only thing that's potentially Nazi-like, and that's only if you're fucking retarded, is the fact that it has what looks almost like a Bavarian eagle on its head.
Well, that's the skull and wings of the Astra Militarum for the Imperial Guard.
Yep.
Every Imperial soldier has the skull and wings. That's just, the thing. Now, the only thing that is German about this entire thing is, number one, Krieg literally means war in German. So they are the Death Corps of War. And then the only other thing is the helmet. The helmet is German. Okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else is fucking World War I French.
Yep.
This is a trench fighter from World War I for the French National Army. Krieg, French. Krieg, French. Krieg, French. Krieg, French.
Mm-hmm.
I am sick to death of these idiots on Twitter saying we need to address the problematic Nazi tendencies of the Death Corps of Krieg. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. The French even have a fucking trench shovel, which is the Death Corps' thing.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up.
You winding yourself up too much, man, because you know that these idiots are fucking idiots. You know that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The people that sit there and talk about how this is a Nazi thing or that's a Nazi thing, they don't even fucking play the game.
And like I said, a shit ton of the time, this is a Nazi thing is, it's a two-headed Bavarian eagle.
It's not even Bavarian. The two-headed eagle has its roots in the Byzantine Empire.
Oh yeah, I know that it's used in a bunch of other places, but the German
its roots is in the Byzantine. The Byzantine Empire is the symbolism of the two-headed eagle is that the two heads represent the dual sovereignty of both religion and secular of the emperor. That's the whole basis of the double-headed eagle.
Yeah, and it was something that was maintained during the Holy Roman Empire as well.
Yes, it was.
They used that, and due to the Holy Roman Empire using it, most of the Germanic states ended up adopting it. And it's
mostly in Russia that you see it. It's mostly in
also,
Slavic states.
Like I said, the German states used it as well. The most well-known is the Bavarian double eagle.
Not very common. It's not very common in German. Most German things, it's actually a single-headed eagle.
Oh, is it the single-headed for the Bavarian?
Yes.
Okay.
Believe me, I've done my research. Whenever I'm wearing my Aquila necklace, because I actually do have a Warhammer Aquila necklace. when people sit there and say, "Is that a Nazi symbol?" I'm all like, "You're retarded. Never speak again."
Okay, yep, it is single. I just double checked, and it is the single. I was mixing that up with which I guess it's the Polish. Is it the Polish has the double?
It might be Pole. Like I said, a lot of the Slavic nations had the double-headed eagle.
The only thing I know about the Bavarians is the donut.
And yep, it is the Polish one that I was confusing it with.
Mm-hmm. Bavarians make some really good food, but apparently they think they're better than other Germans.
Oh, they make amazing food. But then again, there are very few cultures that I don't love the food culture of.
Yeah.
Most of those, it's because their food culture's starving. And yeah, I'm not a very big fan of that food culture. But food is always my thing. I fucking love it. German food, fuck yes. German beer, oh god, yes. Give me a nice big plate of Jaeger schnitzel and a stein of beer, and I'll be like a pig in shit.
Gross.
You've never heard that phrase before, Shady?
I have. It's kind of gross. That's all.
But yeah, it's pretty much all the Germanic foods. Oh, they have sausage culture, which there's two main nations that have just unbelievable culture about sausages that I wish we adopted more of in the States. German and English.
Wait, English actually have food?
Oh, fuck yeah.
They don't just fry beans and shit like that?
Their sausages, their pub grub. Ooh.
Meh. Nah.
What do you have against faggots and mash?
I personally like my interpretation of British food. You know, the can of tuna fish and the can of Pringles with the nice glass of Arizona green tea. You know, fish and chips and tea.
Like I've said, when it comes down to it, the stereotype of the English having really bad food, I'm pretty sure, is kind of like the stereotype of the French not bathing. There's only one major difference. So, you guys know the origin of the stereotype that the French don't bathe, right?
Yeah.
For those who don't, it's during World War II, the French were put under ridiculous rationing, more extreme than pretty much any other area in the West. So one of the major things that was rationed was glycerin. Glycerin is used to make soap. The rationing of glycerin meant that the soap supply fell down because glycerin is also used to make a bunch of explosives.
Yes.
And when the soap supply went down, it meant that the French people didn't have access to soap. Hence the reason why there's a stereotype that they smell and they don't bathe. The only thing that this doesn't answer is why they haven't started since the glycerin limit was lifted, but that's a matter for another day. The English, the stereotype that the English have really bad food, I swear is just a hang-on from when American troops went to England and 90% of the war rations food was, so we boiled a hunk of beef, some leeks, and a bit of potato. Oh, did you make like a broth? Fuck, we couldn't afford the bones. Oh. So everyone got the idea that they just do boiled beef. No, it's just that they were under war rations. There's a fucking difference.
No, it's not.
Pub grub's delicious.
Yeah, you say that, but you know,
Bangers
Can't
and mash,
can't convince me.
shepherds and cottage pie, faggots and gravy, goddamn fish and chips. All of it's delicious.
Can't convince me. We do it better here.
We don't do sausages better, unfortunately. We have a much more limited selection of sausages, which is the thing that drives me crazy.
We also don't. We also have to import our lamb, which is fucking disgusting, and why it costs so goddamn much.
Yeah, and I don't get why we do that, because we have a large chunk of the country that would be beautiful for raising sheep.
Sure. Tell that to the government.
Yep. Also, the fact that we don't have all the distinctions when it comes to lamb / hogget / sheep. That is also annoying, because in other areas, you can get lamb, you can get hogget, you can get mutton. And each of those is they're all sheep meat. They're just...
They're all distinctly different. Yeah.
Yep, they're different ages. But in the US, lamb can be any of those three. It can be spring lamb, it can be proper lamb, which is less than a year, if I remember correctly. It can be hogget, which is a year to 3, or it can be full-grown lamb after 3, which is mutton.
Yeah.
Just keep the distinction.
It sucks because like that's one of my favorite meats, but it's so goddamn expensive. It's easier to get venison chops and steaks than it is to get fucking lamb.
Yeah. And like I said, it's confusing as fuck, because there's a large chunk of the country that would be prime lamb area.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, most of the fucking Midwest, you could do lamb like a goddamn dream.
We used to get, at my other job, we used to get commodity lamb. And granted, commodity lamb is, it's not prime. But, I mean, if you can get someone to cook it well enough, you can get sheep lamb to taste like it's, you know, high-end stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just like with pretty much anything. You need to know how to cook it right. Because even with the standard cuts of meat, like everyone can find filet mignon at their grocer in the United States. If you cook filet wrong, it can be one of the single most unappetizing cuts of meat imaginable.
Sure.
Because if you well done filet, that's a fucking war crime.
Yeah.
I'm not really all that good at cooking a steak. But I mean, I've tried several times and failed several times. I mean, my wife likes it really well done, so I mean, she likes it, but it's got to be perfect in the middle, or else it's just garbage.
Warm all the way through and just barely that.
Yeah, I like it still leaking.
Yep.
Pass it through a warm room. If it's still mooing, that's perfectly fine.
It's got a twitch when you cut it.
Exactly.
Yeah, for me, like I said, it has to be warm all the way through. Because cold meat, doesn't do it for me, which is why I don't go for blue.
Oh, I love blue.
But if it's warm all the way through, oh, fuck yeah. I want it nice and bloody and red on the inside, but warm, delicious, just fuck yes. And at some point, Inquisitor, we need to have another cookout.
Hell yeah. Well, you know, we got that thing, the thing.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll plan for it. But we should get together before that. The thing.
Oh yeah. But I'm just that cookout with all those steaks. For those who don't remember, last year for the 4th of July, I went down, visited Inquisitor and Adam for the 4th. And we had a grill, which we got, what was it, 12 pounds of New York strip?
Yeah, I think so.
That we split between 4 of us.
Yeah. It was delicious.
It was fucking amazing.
Making me hungry thinking about it.
And I've taken your teachings to heart. When I made steaks for this last July 4th, I dry brined as well.
Very nice.
Granted, I didn't have that big a cuts of meat for some of them. I only had just like a sandwich steak for one of them, but it still worked. It still locked it in. Still kept it juicy. Fried it up nice. On the grill, everything. It was great.
Next time when we do that, I have to make sure that I remember to bring my Tocky powder as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just insanely ups the umami nature of steak.
Mm-hmm.
So dry brine with Tocky powder and also some of that Maldon smoked salt. Oh, it is fucking sinful in the best possible way.
It's funny. We can't find the smoked salt around this area, but SCP and his mom gifted me some Maldon sea salt.
Yep,
and that's what I used for the dry brine this time.
nice. Yeah, if you remind me after the show, I can send you the link that you can buy it on Amazon and get a 1 pound tub of Maldon.
I think I still have it because you sent it to me after the.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it's still in my wish list on Amazon.
Yeah. For
After
anyone,
you buy that shit on Amazon, it doesn't have to go away. You can keep it on your wish list.
Yep. For anyone that has never used it, I recommend trying some Maldon smoked sea salt on a nice steak. Get your steaks 24 hours before you want to eat them. Sprinkle that salt on. Set them on a cooling rack on a baking tray in your refrigerator so that the air can get to it. The moisture comes out of the steak, melts down the salt, and then gets sucked right back into the center. So it is perfectly seasoned in every single bite of the steak.
Yeah, and it fries up the outside because the outside is incredibly dry. That's part of the brining process. So it fries up the outside really fast. So you'll get this like almost kind of crusty sort of char on the outside.
Really hard Maillard reaction on the outside, yep.
But then when you cut into the steak, it's just absolutely tender and locked all of that moisture inside the steak. It is so good.
And you know how you have to rest a steak after cooking it?
Mm-hmm.
Much less will come out of that steak in the resting if you dry brine first. Because if you don't, you always lose a decent amount of liquid out of the steak during the resting. But it allows all the fibers to relax, so it's still worth it even though you lose liquid. Dry brine, you don't really lose anything, and you still get that relaxing of the fibers. So you just have this insanely juicy, amazing steak afterwards. But now that we've talked about food for a while, any of you find anything that you want to rant and rave about, that you want to bring up, have any weird thoughts that passed your mind during the week that you just want to give vent to or anything like that?
Well, I want to mention something. Some lady at work mentioned bratwurst with sauerkraut on it.
Yep.
I've never had sauerkraut, but I do like bratwurst. I mean, I am in Wisconsin after all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pickled cabbage, right?
Yep. Brats and kraut are beautiful combination.
Who says you?
Yep.
I don't like sauerkraut.
She hates beer, though. She hates beer, though.
Say no to kraut.
See, that's a shame that they don't like beer, because a really good sauerkraut with that nice tangy acidity with a beautifully cooked broth, especially a beer broth, and then just a nice big pint of beer or tankard of beer or whatever size vessel you can get of beer.
Yeah, and my coworker said that she's German and that her ancestors or her family would disown her. So, all right, go ahead. Sorry.
Wait, what? Wait. Who? What kind of ancestors again?
German.
Korean? Oh, German.
German was spoken on Lords of the Night tonight, too.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that certain people don't drink, and I can understand that. I don't get the people that don't like beer at all in general. Because there's so many different types, and they all taste very different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's...
I used to not really like German beer all that much, but I've since come around after having Grolsch. Grolsch is my favorite.
Yep. Yeah, and there's really no way that you can compare properly, like a Guinness to a Sapporo or something along those lines, because they're two entirely different breeds.
Yeah,
right.
Entirely different kind of beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you want to hear something that's funny?
Go for it.
My first experience with Guinness was actually in Japan, at a biker bar.
Really?
A biker bar, yeah, a biker bar in Japan.
Yep.
They were serving Guinness. It was a Irish inspired bar in Japan, and they played the freaking hard rock music and all that stuff. But yeah, that's where I got my first taste of Guinness. It was delicious. I know it's not the right Guinness because it was in a freaking can. But yeah, they
can come in a can.
Yeah, but still, it's not.
It's not as good as draft pork.
That's correct.
Well,
yeah.
I can do one Guinness, and then I'm just like, my stomach can't handle it anymore. It's too heavy.
Too much like liquid bread.
Yeah.
The bar in our town has a thing that they do where it's named different things based around which one you get. One of them is called the Black and Blue.
Yep.
It's
Guinness and Blue Moon.
I think it's a full pint. Yeah, it's a full pour of Guinness, and I think half a pour of Blue Moon. They also have Black and Red, which is Guinness and Killian's Irish Red.
Yep.
Yeah, and both of which are delicious.
Have you ever had a blacksmith?
No.
Blacksmith is Guinness and Smithwick's.
Okay.
Really damn good as that too.
My favorite is Black and Tan. So it's Guinness and what you call that? What's that fucking sunny thing?
I'm trying to remember again.
It's a light beer. It's like you put like orange in it.
Yeah, I'm talking about Blue Moon, are you?
No, not Blue Moon.
Are you talking about Shock Top?
Sure. Yeah, there you go. Shock Top.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. It would work with Blue. It would work with
with Blue Moon, yeah, because
Blue
they're
Moon
both
too,
they're both pale ales, yeah.
Right, but I actually like the Shock Top and actually a Guinness. It's actually quite good. They call it like a shit. We had it outside in Coors Field, but that was actually quite good. I enjoyed it.
That's good.
Yeah, like I said, there's the Blacksmith, which is absolutely delicious. Because you guys have all had or those that drink have all had a Smithix, right?
Yes.
No.
No.
Oh, you haven't?
Smithix is good.
Yeah, Smithix. So, the Guinness Brewery at St. James Gate produces a number of different types of beers. Guinness is just the most famous of them. Smithix is a much lighter beer than Guinness, also produced by St. James Gate. So, nice full flavors still, really good blend of hops and everything else, and the malts, they just don't use as dark of a malt in that one. Yeah. Really fucking good. So, having a Blacksmith it rounds out the Guinness a little bit more and makes it lighter for those that find Guinness too heavy.
Yep. Honestly, I think that the major reason why some people don't like beer is because of the hoppy taste, which I get. I get it. It's kind of an acquired taste. I know I didn't really like it the first time I tried it.
It took me a lot to get used to it.
And most of that's just with the current trend of craft beers. Everyone wants to make these insanely over-hopped beers.
Yeah.
Which just end up coming across insanely bitter.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go for a really malty beer, which is one of the reasons why I like Asian beers, they're weird because they look like they should be piss water, but they're insanely malty. They just use a very pale malt. And they're amazing.
Actually, my thing has been not hoppy beer, but more what you call a barrel age, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually one of my favorite type of beer. So, let's say whatever type of beer it is. Let's say an ale, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put it into a barrel aged barrel, right? Just like a wine barrel. It actually gives a little bit of a different flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually quite good. The problem with that is it takes time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of time, and a lot of places can't do that, so they limit the how much they sell to you. It's a shame, but it's fucking delicious. And
well, that's the reason why Scotch is so expensive.
Yep.
yeah,
Especially if you ever go for... You guys are familiar with the difference between cask strength and bottle strength, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
So, what the difference is between those two, Shady, is cask strength is what you get straight out of a cask when you're aging anything, because anything that's aged in barrel, you can get what is known as cask strength. That is at least twice the alcohol by volume, and every flavor in it is intensified. Because bottle strength is actually watered whatever. So it's normally a 1-to-1 ratio of the cask to water, maybe a little bit less depending on the desired end strength.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, you can get, if you know where to look, you can sometimes find cask strength Jameson Black Barrel, which Jameson Black Barrel's 40 ABV, so 80 proof.
Yep.
cask strength is 160 proof at 80 ABV. All its flavors are ridiculously concentrated, so you get more of the smokiness of the heavily charred barrel that they use. You get more of the vanilla notes. Everything like that is just dialed up ridiculously. So, for a lot of people, cask strength is way too strong. Just in flavor, not even talking about the alcohol, just the flavor alone, it's kind of sensory overload for some people. So some people will take cask strength and then water it down to the degree that they want. Other people just drink cask strength straight, and every bottle is a watered cask strength. So that's the difference between cask and bottle strength alcohols.
And I usually dilute scotch whenever I drink it. It's the only chaser I put in with it. Just scotch and water. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So you get the full flavor of the scotch, but you're diluting it so you're not getting so fucking shit-faced, so fast.
Yeah, there's certain scotches that are actually designed to have a drop or two of not really room, just slightly below room temp water added to them in order to allow the flavors to bloom a bit more.
So, I don't drink liquor anymore. I haven't in a long time. But when I was
we gotta change that.
No, when I was stationed in Okinawa, I got sent to Philippines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my deployment was we did training, whatever, right? I ended up in Manila, right?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest mall in Manila is in the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So I was walking through this one time. Oh, I only had 2 days there. So one time I was there. The first day I was there, I walked into the store. It was a liquor store. There was a bottle of Jack Daniels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It was 4 foot high.
Okay.
I wanted to buy it. It was only $100.
Oh God! Why didn't you?
I couldn't fucking get it back in the bag.
Oh.
You know?
That's a good point.
Yeah. It was $100. The motherfucker was it was 4 foot high. You know, it was the traditional bottle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was just 100 foot high. It was plastic too. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's just a big ass bottle of it.
Right.
Jack Daniels is jail whiskey.
Yes, it was jail whiskey. I was a Marine, so it was jail whiskey. Trust me, I know. So
I thought Jim Beam was jail whiskey. Let's be honest.
Well, Jack Daniels is pretty much the same.
Well, regardless,
level.
someone's going to jail.
Yeah. Trust me, I've drank enough in the Marine Corps where we had a bar fight where people were shanking each other with bottles. So I'll tell you all that one day.
So people pull out their Irish pocket knives?
Yes. You know, funny thing was the lieutenant was in there.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway,
It's always good when the command is, not afraid to drink with the grunts.
Yeah. But I wanted to buy it so bad. I wanted to put it in my bag, my carry-on bag, like my green fucking bag.
Your duffel?
Yep, then my duffel bag. I couldn't do it. It was still too big for it. But it was fun. I was like, if I would have taken it out, I would have been had a shotgun shot to my head, a sawed-off shotgun because Manila, Abu Sayyaf, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fun times, but that much alcohol would have fucking sedated a whole platoon.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
At whatever point we end up finally drinking together, Cryptic.
Yeah.
Enjoy the drinks. Don't pace.
Oh, I'll pace because I'm a bitch now. I'm getting too old, man.
Oh no, I'm saying don't try to keep pace.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm too old for that shit.
Well, I did Sanguine.
Because Inquisitor knows.
And I kept pace with you.
No, and I know I'm 100 pounds like lighter than you, so I ain't doing that shit.
Though I'm getting much lighter, so you might not be a full 100 pounds lighter than me anymore.
Still, I wouldn't trust like me being able to keep up with you. Nah, look,
Yep.
No, hell no. I know your ass can drink me under the table. Fuck that shit.
That's where the fun comes in. Only reason to drink is for flavor for me.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm painting while I'm here.
I just I'll have a beer like every once in a while if there's an occasion, but that's about it.
That's fair.
I haven't drank to seriously drink in a long time. Probably the last time was at fucking
Fourth.
Well, no, not even the fourth, man. I didn't drink that much at fourth.
True. You had to be the DD for that.
Yeah, because Bug and I kept on going back to our place. But the last time I probably drank to drink was at MythCon.
Oh yeah, Minions Con.
I like Moscato.
Well, Moscato's great. And I say the problem is with Moscato and me is the fact that it's deceptive. It sneaks up on me, and it's the only liquor that will give me a hangover.
I like mixed drinks too, and margaritas sometimes.
I like mimosas.
Yeah,
Never tried it.
Mimosas are champagne and orange juice.
Yep.
Oh,
They're the
My
less
worst-
alcoholic screwdriver.
highball.
And you won't hate yourself after you drink one.
My worst drinking experience as a Marine was that I drank a whole handle of Jose Cuervo, right?
Okay.
Afterwards, I drank what you call that? Habusaki and Coke. Horrible taste.
You ever try Sambuca?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
I don't like it. I tried it one time for my 21st birthday, and I almost threw up.
I broke my nose
I love it.
Oh shit!
because I kneed myself in the face.
Why are you kneeing yourself in the face, bro?
I was trying to show off to this girl, and I
I was gonna say, was it something that your brothers dared you to do? I couldn't see that.
no, it was a local chick, and I just dink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's just stupidity, you know.
Well, when you're in Japan, you got to show off. You know.
Yeah, and I was 21 at the time, so
This drinking story is just reminding me of the very first time I was drunk.
yeah.
It's one of two times, and this also took place in Japan. Because I was out to dinner with the people that I was with at the time. And during dinner, I had like 5 to 10 shoes of sake and soju. Then finished our dinner, decided we weren't done drinking. So we hit a liquor store. Got a 750 milliliter bottle of Johnny Walker Black.
Oh yeah.
Oh my stepdad likes Johnny Walker.
Oh yeah,
I think he likes black. I'm not sure.
Black is very sweet, so I understand that. Yeah.
On the
Black's
box
a
or
good
something.
option. Double black is also a really good call for that.
Yeah.
I like Johnny Walker Black.
Yep. Then my friends bought their alcohols. We went back and were drinking in the hotel room that we decided to all congregate in. Realized that I was the only person that liked whiskey. I drank my 750 milliliter bottle of whiskey. We were also sharing around shots of everything else. So I had several more shoes of sake, some vodka, some rum, some tequila. I'm trying to remember. There was one other alcohol that I can't remember what the fuck it was. Then decided we still weren't done drinking. So I hit the corner store, bought 5 22-ounce beers. Downed 5 22-ounce beers. This was all in about an hour and a half-ish window of time. So, all summed up, it was over 50-something drinks in that window of time.
I think my uncle did something like that right before boarding a plane. He had to down all his beer or something.
Yep. The liquid requirements.
Yeah, I think so. Probably Budweiser because he loves Budweiser.
Ew.
I've seen many people try to pound a bottle of vodka because of that.
Yeah. This one time, I was outside the bar just waiting on people to fucking leave because I was the responsible NCL, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck am I gonna do? So I'm sitting on the street. In Japan, you're allowed to drink on the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a couple bottles of beer. I'm just downing beer left and right. By the time I was done, I was like, ah, fuck. What the hell's going on? And then I hear a fight in the background. I'm like, ah, shit. I go over there. I was like, you're mine, you're mine, you're mine, you're mine. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I grab all the people that belong to me, and I was like, let's go home.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, y'all understand. Y'all get in trouble, I'm going to be in trouble. So let's go home. Because I had to sign them out because they're under me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're not allowed to go past midnight without me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to do it, but I did it because they're generally good people, but
Mm-hmm.
they fucked up this night. Then they got into a bunch of fights, and one of them tried to go home with a Japanese chick. I'm like, nah, you ain't doing, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I dragged them. When I was trying to drag them home, they try to like they were drunk, so they tried to like fight me. I'm like, dude, your ass is gonna be fucked. Yeah.
Why would you fight your NCO?
Exactly.
Sounds like a horrible idea.
Exactly. I'm like, I was like, no. I first thing I said to him, tomorrow your ass is gonna be fucked if you try this shit. He calmed down and he went home with me. Yeah. He went home. It's like, yeah, you're gonna home with me, motherfucker.
I'm gonna PT you until your eyes bleed.
Yeah. But
You're going to be running until I'm tired.
and then back then I wasn't tired, dude. I was like, I would run fucking like 10 miles with a cigarette in my mouth. I'm like, you motherfuckers ready?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So no, I had good kids. They're just sometimes they're dumb, you know. And yeah, I miss that shit though. Like, get your ass over here. Come on now.
I'm still absolutely gobsmacked about how weird Japan's laws are when it comes to drinking.
Yeah.
Because they're much more relaxed than us in some respects. Like you can drink just walking around. No one will really freak out about that. But they're much stricter. Like their legal limit when it comes to blowing on a breathalyzer in a car is something like a third to maybe half of ours.
Yeah, I'm not shocked.
Because I want to say you cop at like 0.02.
Look at the narrowness of their roads and tell me that that's not a good idea.
Oh. And quiz. I had a car in Japan, right? Trust me. They're driving, you know the bad Asian driving fucking stereotype?
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking true.
Well, how many Asians actually drive in Japan? Come on. Most people in Japan, they don't need to drive.
No.
I think we're missing an important part here. Cryptic, since you were the one that said that, how many people did you run over?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. No, how you
Where
do
are the
you don't
bodies,
realize?
Cryptic?
No, I had even though I was Asian, I had the American Armed Forces license plate, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to avoid people trying to fucking hit me on purpose to get insurance money.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, defensive
That's like
driving
in China.
defensive driving is a fucking thing there, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a car. I was an E3 because I stayed extra year. They gave me a license, right? I was like one of the very few E3. So, I had a girlfriend down in Naha, and so I drove down there to see her. But I had a side job where I would take one of the non-commissioned, non-NCO, right? The E3 and below.
Mm-hmm.
Down there, and I was like, hey, you do your thing, you go your red light district, go do whatever you want, but you come back at this time, I'm gonna take you back. So I made a little bit of money off of that. Yeah, but driving down there was a bitch. I usually take the back roads. I know the back roads of Okinawa very well. Because I had to, because I also, one of my job on there was the but my warrant officer's bitch. Because I have a license, because I'm one of the very few who have a license, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every 2 weeks I had a week of nothing but driving down to all the bases on Okinawa, because we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases in Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
So I would drive. I'm in the central, so I drive south, then north, up where my base is, go to the north, and then back down.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the roads very well, and I can tell you, the Japanese are fucking dicks when it comes to driving. They will cut you off in a heartbeat just so that they can hit you to get insurance money.
Sounds almost like trying to drive in Chicago, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like I said, China as well.
Because driving around Chicago, it's not that they're trying to hit you for insurance money. It's because taxis don't look at the road. They're too busy, lighting up their pipes and smoking their hookahs. Just saying. It's probably the most common thing that you will see. Getting into a taxi in Chicago is going to be some Indian paraphernalia. So and they don't watch the road at all. They just fucking scream down the road as fast as they possibly can, swerve in and out of traffic. It's you don't want to go downtown, especially on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about in Japan, right? You have to be very careful driving Humvees.
Yeah.
Humvees, they know, because like when I'm driving a civilian Tonka trucks and like regular Japanese cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can't tell unless they look at your license plate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like Humvees, they know you're a fucking American military. They do that worse when you're in a Humvee.
Mm-hmm.
There's many times when I'm in a Humvee, I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to do this shit. Because they target you more in a Humvee, because they can identify you as American military.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Regardless if they hit you or you hit them, you know what? It's always your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And the American military will always pay for it. That's why they do it.
Yeah, that's a big problem in a number of countries where you'll just get screwed over by the court system. If you're American especially, and you end up in a car crash, and you are behind any of the vehicles, oh yeah, you're fucked.
Yep, the same here. So I had to drive like with a fucking like. I'm the most defensive driver you ever know in your life because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I look left, I look right. I'm like, I don't trust nobody. Even in America, I don't trust nobody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, because in Japan they teach you how to do that because they will fuck with you. And one accident in Japan, you lose your license.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a military service member, at least, you know.
How does that meme go? Is how much do you trust someone? It's like I look both ways down a one-way road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, this is just making me think about all the crashes that I saw when I was in Northern Virginia, and how about 90% of them involved a bus. Because the buses in Northern Virginia / DC metro area, absolute sons of bitches. No other way around it. They are just unrepentant assholes.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that a long time ago on Minions.
Yep.
Minions lore. Yeah, I think you were talking about that.
And I told you guys about the number of buses that I saw burning at various points as well, I think.
I think so, yeah.
There was literally, when I was an EMT in the area, like a 3-week straight stretch where every time I was going either into work or coming out of work, I would see at least one bus on fire. And bus drivers do have a sense of humor. I have to give it to that, because when a bus was on fire in the middle of a bus depot, someone had parked all the other buses to watch it burn.
Nice.
It was just this giant circle of buses with their headlights on towards the center bus that's on fire. Like someone had decided, oh no, you motherfuckers watch this one burn and watch out, this is you next.
Yeah, just teaching it a lesson.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you fuck around.
Mm-hmm. It was absolutely insane, though.
I've only seen one car ever really catch fire, and it was after someone put diesel in their gas tank. They made it about to the end of the driveway, and then everything just went. And that fire went. It must have went really hot, really fast, or that it was just a piece of shit car. But I could see like the metal just chipping off. It was just so hot.
Oh yeah, I've seen a good number of cars burn and other vehicles burn as well. Because the first time, I think I was in China when I saw a car just burst into flames, which is fitting. Oh, good.
Last year, my cousin who's passed now, my cousin's son, who's now passed, he got into a really bad car accident, and the car was up in flames, and he had a crushed pelvis, among other minor injuries, and he needed surgery for a titanium socket joint. So,
Yeah.
Damn.
yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I've seen a good number of car fires. The vast majority, the person that was in the car was standing out on the side of it, just looking at their car like, oh, fuck, I have to get a new car. But I've mentioned this on Minions before as well. This is going to be really morbid, just to give everyone a heads up. There's a very particular reason why a large number of firefighters and a large number of EMTs can no longer eat sweet barbecue.
Hmm.
And there have been times where I've been in a car going down a highway with my windows down, and I realize, oh, there's a really bad accident up ahead due to that. Because it's a smell that sticks with you. And Inquisitor fell out again.
Yeah, his internet died on him.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I was wondering who left. Or why he left.
If his internet comes back up, he'll probably be hopping back in. And I'll click him back in.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, there's all kinds of shit that has happened. As everyone knows, I was an EMT, so I saw a fair bit of shit because of that. And then just random occurrences of living in a major metro area where even really rare things, just by the number of people on the road, became fairly commonplace. But yeah, shall we go to a happier topic or a different topic? Does anyone have one that they want to toss out? Or
Well, I was just going to say, the more that I work my job, the more I am disgusted with doctors and billing practices.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of pretty much just the laziness, really. It drives me nuts. And then, because the way that they bill is each procedure that they perform has a code that goes with it.
Yep.
And the code, based on your insurance policy and your contract with whoever it is, pretty much will cover, like, say, a lot of questions that I get are mostly about physicals. Like, pretty much, I don't think you'll have, like, even the shittiest insurance policy will have, you going in for a physical and it'll be covered as long as it's preventative. But they'll put these generic codes in, and so you'll find yourself with a $200 bill for a physical that you thought you were going to get covered for. And so then you got to call the insurance company. They tell you to call the provider. The provider's like, oh, yeah, I guess we can submit this new claim in. And then you got to hope that they actually got off their ass and actually did that shit. And it drives me nuts. The more I hear, the more questions I get about it. It's just drives me insane.
Yeah. The problem is that a lot of that, most of the insurance shit is almost dictated by the government, because 90% of it is what Medicare and Medicaid does. Everyone has to follow that, so the other companies just go, fuck it, why not just go for that system?
Yeah.
And then there isn't enough training on the billing side of things, to the point where a lot of providers don't actually know how much it costs to do any specific thing that they're doing. Like, 90% of the time, if you have to take an ambulance someplace, the EMT, paramedic, whoever that's in the ambulance with you will not know how much it costs. Because There's a lot of weird shit that goes into that calculation.
Yeah.
And the EMT paramedic is almost never told what those costs are. I was able to get some information on that, so I knew that for the group that I worked for, if it was a BLS, it started at $500 and went up. And the going up was how long the call took, how far the ambulance had to be driven, if there were any things used during the transport, so bandages, shit like that, meds in the case of paramedics. And after all that, we also had to get very specific wording in our report in order to make sure that shit would be covered if it could be covered.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we would bullshit in the report, but just it required very specific wording that you could be doing the right thing, but not phrase it correctly, and suddenly that person is footing the bill themselves, rather than having it go to their insurance company or whoever the fuck is supposed to be paying for it.
Yeah, or it would either be covered or going to a deductible.
Mm-hmm. And for ALS transport, that's EMTI, EMTA, and paramedics. It started at $1,000, and then all those other charges were tacked on. So we had no clue what the fuck the actual price of an ambulance ride was, because there was no way for us to know what the price of the ambulance ride was, because no one fucking told us how to calculate the price of the ambulance ride. But the number of times that we would get asked during transport, how much is this going to cost? And the vast majority of us had to go, no clue. They don't tell us. Above my pay grade. Is just absolutely ridiculous. But that's because we weren't ever taught how the billing side of things was done. We were just told that if you do X or Y, you have to phrase it as this, rather than phrasing it this way, because this way, no one covers it. This way, everyone covers it. But they're saying the same thing. You would think that, and when you read it, yes, they are saying the same thing, but they don't get treated the same. And the same thing happened when I was working corrections, where, for instance, everyone here knows what handcuffs are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what it means when you say that someone was handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Kinky.
We were forbidden from ever saying that someone was handcuffed or that we used handcuffs.
Even though that's what they are and that's what you do?
No. We used mechanical wrist restraints, and we applied mechanical wrist restraints. These aren't handcuffs, despite them being handcuffs, and it isn't handcuffing, despite it being handcuffing. No. It has to be mechanical wrist restraints and applying mechanical wrist restraints. Because if you say handcuffing, that sounds too harsh. So we weren't allowed to say it, because that would sound bad if it ever got brought up in a court of law, despite every single person and their brother knowing what handcuffing is.
Sensitive snowflakes.
Mm-hmm. And the same thing was true for various other things. So, for instance, if it reached the point where if officers had to go hands-on with offenders because the offender attacked them or something along those lines, you could not say that when offender so-and-so swung at officer so-and-so responded by punching him in the face. No. The officer responded with a closed hand strike. Don't you dare say punch.
Hawaiian punch.
There's a lot of really weird bullshit when it comes to paperwork.
Legalese, probably.
Mm-hmm. Because it all comes down to what's the wording that people have been able to avoid getting charges put on them by using? The DOC was sued because someone was punched during a riot, so suddenly no one in the DOC can say that someone punched someone else. They have to refer to it as a closed hand strike.
Political correctness is stupid.
Oh yeah, it is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And there's all kinds of shit like that. Like, what do you call a spray that is derived from peppers?
Pepper spray?
Barbecue sauce.
Most people
Or
would
Shady
think pepper spray. Or they might think mace, because that's a common brand name, right?
Curry.
Mace.
It has
What
to
the
be
hell?
referred to as chemical.
Cryptic's treasure chamber is getting out of hand.
You had to refer to it as chemical, which that was the one that really broke the mold of everything had to sound less threatening, because
Maybe
I'm
some-
sorry, I deployed my can of chemical. Sounds a fuck ton
Maybe
more worrying than I sprayed pepper spray.
Well, especially when chemical could
Maybe
be...
someone's getting pepper sprayed over there. Cryptic,
Wait.
what you doing?
Chemical could pretty much mean anything. You could...
Mm-hmm. But we always had to say deployed chemical. Never pepper spray. Because pepper spray was a forbidden phrase. It was fucking weird. And again, it was just, for some reason, someone got sued over the use of pepper spray. But they didn't get sued over using chemical?
Hey,
Despite
Sanguine.
chemicals sounding far more ominous? Yes.
Jack wants a link.
The thing is that if Inquisitor's internet comes back up and running, then we would be at 6. And 6 is the max capacity. And since Inquisitor did have the link and was in at the start of the show, I'm loath to add check and then have to either not allow Inquisitor back in should his internet come back up, or kick check in order to bring back Inquisitor.
Okay.
That
And
makes
just
sense?
to throw this out there, today's his his birthday too. I'm just saying.
Happy birthday, check.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying, Sanguine.
Yeah, it's just the number of people that we have.
Green Badger says he was a part of the custodial engineering staff and not a janitor.
Yep. Yeah. You end up with all these weird fucking terms. Are they sandwich makers? No. They're sandwich artists. Are these the actors and employees of Disney World? Nope, fuck you. They're cast members.
Cast members? Shit.
Yeah, Disney World, all of the employees of Disney or Disney World and Disneyland are cast members, not employees.
Yeah, but until they you heard about the Gru incident, right?
I'm not sure if I have.
No, I haven't.
So somebody, oh, yeah. Could you elaborate, sir?
Yeah. It was like a picture was taken when it was the two girls were 6 and 7 or something. Yeah, and then he did the. Yeah, I'm going from memory. I don't really.
All he did was the OK sign.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Universal.
I just found it. Family sue after theme park character flashes white supremacist sign in pictures.
Correct. It's the stupidest shit you ever hear in your life, right? The dude was just saying, he was saying nothing had to do with anything, right? But these SJWs fucking goddamn hounded him to fire the guy, and the guy unfortunately lost his job. He wasn't political, none of that stuff, and that's the shit that pisses me off. It's just these people are out of control.
One family is seeking $30,000 in damages.
Yeah, that's fucking retarded. And I don't get why the people that claim that they're against white supremacy are so goddamn excited to give white supremacists everything that they possibly can. Especially
that's
since
not even white supremacists. That's just 4chan.
And it isn't even something that was ever fucking real. It was something going, they're so goddamn stupid, I bet that we could make them think that the OK sign's a white supremacist symbol. And they fucking could!
So, my problem is, like, everything has to be through the lens of some kind of racial profile. It's not, right? Mm-hmm. Leave kids the fuck alone. They need their childhood. It's just like, you don't need to teach them like a 11 years old fucking to learn how to use a condom. They don't need that shit. They don't need at the age of fucking 9 or 4 to fucking understand what a race is, right? At that age, they don't know. They don't give a shit what the race or color of their friends are.
I'm sorry. I'm reading this article and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's just the stupidity of the American left has caused so much trouble.
Yeah, they point out things that if people just stopped making a big deal out of them, they would stop being something that people notice. The little kids don't really realize that, wait, my best friend's black and I'm white? They go, no. Bobby and I are best friends. We're going to go do this on the weekend. That's what their thought process is until someone else goes, now, Timmy, do you realize that Bobby's black and that you're white? What does that mean? Well, you've noticed that his skin is darker, right? Yeah? Well, that means that he's black. And you know how your skin's pale, right? Yeah? That means that you're white. Okay?
Don't deny his lived experience.
Yeah.
You okay.
Or his identity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Before Trump became president, right? There was an interview between Don Le Dumbass, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who was in Batman? Morgan Freeman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the famous interview was that Don Le Dumbass was saying what they can do about racism in America, right?
Stop talking about it.
Stop the fucking talking about it.
Yep.
And then once Trump became fucking president, they started more and more fucking dumbass started having the TDS syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And started talking more and more about it, and made the situation worse in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It.
When more,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine. What he is doing now is not about the racial relationship in America. Nothing in the left, even CNN, any fucking network, is about racial relations in America. It's all about ratings, and even James Earl Jones said this, or like have not directly said exactly what he said about a race relationship, but Morgan Freeman, right, was the best one to say is like, if you want people not to think about race, don't fucking talk about it, because it's not important, right? It's not fucking important. It's about the human. It's about the person. It's about the policy of the people you elect. And
Morgan, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. No, I'm sorry. I'm done.
Morgan Freeman has a lot of really good quotes about that.
Yep.
Because that wasn't the first time that he did something like that. I can't remember the interviewer's name in the one that is probably the most famous instance of it. But he was asked about race relations, and he again said stop talking about it. And then he was... Oh, God.
That was actually Don Le Dumbass.
Well, I'm saying this time was before that, because this guy was one of the, I want to say, standard like Hollywood interviewers.
Yeah, it was Piers Morgan.
No, it was an older dude who was.
He was a Jewish guy. Yeah.
Yep, because
is there a Jewish history? When's Jewish History Month? He asked him.
Yeah, it was
American history.
Yeah, it was. He was asked about it during that, and he did stop talking about it. And then he was asked about the Black History Month, and he said, why should I want a Black History Month? What's the point of having a Black History Month? We shouldn't have. Well, don't you think that it's important? Well, when's White History Month? I mean, that would be your month, right? And the guy went, well, I'm Jewish. Okay, when's Jewish History Month?
It was Larry King. So.
It was?
No, it wasn't Larry King.
I didn't think...
No.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name for the life of me, but the guy said, well, no, I don't really want a Jewish History Month. Well, why not? Why do you not want a Jewish History Month when you're saying that I should want a Black History Month? Is not Jewish history important? And the guy kind of backed down after that because he was not expecting pushback on talking about how Black History Month was coming up, and that's an important time of the year, but Morgan Freeman has absolutely no fucking use for Black History Month because he keeps on saying time and again that if it is worthy of being part of Black History Month, then it should be worthy of just being part of American history.
Yeah, so, I know who you're talking about. I just can't remember his name.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up and I can't find it. It's all Don Lemon that's coming up.
No, it's not Don Lemon. I know who you're talking about.
I mean, when I search it, it's all Don Lemon. It doesn't bring up the other guy.
Yeah, he's been very vocal about that for the longest period of time. That he absolutely hates the focus on race, and that he absolutely hates Black History Month as an idea, because why the fuck is it Black History Month? All that does is it makes it so that people concentrate Black history rather than studying it throughout the rest of the year like all the other history.
It's the guy from 60 Minutes.
Yeah, he was on 60 Minutes. Yeah.
And it was just an absolutely beautiful little bit. Yeah, he called it Black History Month ridiculous.
Was it Mike Wallace?
Yeah. I think it was. No.
Let me quickly double check.
He was a
Googling
Jewish.
it.
Yes.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Mike Wallace. Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep, he's Jewish.
Yeah, it's not about. Yeah. I hate this bullshit about, Black History Month, the whole LGBT, whatever the fuck you want to call it, Asian history, whatever, whatever. It's not about that. It's about you being American, period,
Mm-hmm.
Being an American is more than your fucking identity of where you came from. And people don't fucking understand that. It's like, being American gives you the thing that was given to you by the founding fathers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Freedom to say what the fucking what the hell you want, even if you or your idea is a piece of shit. But you have the right to defend yourself against somebody saying that you're wrong. Communism. That's why communism didn't hit us for over 200 years until government started censoring us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like CNN and more people on the left are more authoritarian than ever before, and that's the thing that scares the living shit out of me. That's coming from somebody that was spent his first 4 years in his life starving in a communist country.
Mm-hmm. So, since he brought up the hyphenated American, as it was known, and I think that phrasing should come back. One of the best bits about the hyphenated American that I can remember is from Teddy Roosevelt. Do you guys want to hear what he said about the hyphenated American? Because I just pulled it up.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
I stand for straight Americanism, unconditioned and unqualified, and I stand against every form of hyphenated Americanism. I do not speak of the hyphen when it is employed as mere convenience, although personally I like to avoid its use even in such manner. I speak and condemn its use whenever it represents an effort to form political parties along racial lines or to bring pressure to bear on parties and politicians, not for American purposes, but in the interest of some group of voters of a certain national origin or of the country from which they or their their fathers came. Americanism is not a matter of creed, birthplace, or national descent, but of the spirit, or of the soul and of the spirit. If the American has the right stuff in him, I do not snap my fingers whether he is a Jew, a Gentile, a Catholic, or Protestant. I care not a snap of my fingers whether his ancestors came over in the Mayflower or whether he was born or his parents were born in Germany, Ireland, France, England, Scandinavia, Russia, or Italy, or any other country. All I ask of the immigrant is that he shall be physically and intellectually fit, of sound character, and eager in good faith to become an American citizen. If the immigrant is of the right kind, I am for him. And if the Native American is of the wrong kind, this is actually there's an editorial mark. I believe he probably just said Indian rather than Native American. So I'll go for it. If the Indian is of the wrong kind, I am against him. Oh no, it is native-born American. If the native-born American is of the wrong kind, I am against him. Now, for our own citizens, we represent many different race strains. Our ancestors came from many different old world nationalities. It will spell ruin to this nation if for these nationalities remain separated from one another instead of being assimilated into the new, larger American life. The children and our children's children of all of us have to live here in this land together. Our children's children will intermarry one another. Your children's children, friends and mine. Even if they wished, they could not remain citizens of a foreign country. The effort to keep our citizenship divided against itself by the use of the hyphen and along the lines of national origin is certain to breed a spirit of bitterness and prejudice and dislike between great bodies of our citizens. It's something that drives me crazy that we keep on harping on about hyphenated Americans. Well, this is Black America. No, it's America. This is white America. No, it's America. This is Irish. No, it's America. I don't give a fuck where you came from. I don't give a fuck what your nationality was, other than it might have some interesting stories tied to it. What I care about is whether you want to be an American.
Yep.
If you want to be an American, there are first-generation immigrants and hopeful first-generation immigrants that are 1,000 times more American than a native-born son or daughter.
It's really funny how the most patriotic people are that are out there weren't even native born here.
Yeah, a good chunk of them. Go ahead, Cryptic.
I'm native born. I served in all military.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I love this country more than anything else in the world.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's providing me everything I need, everything, I've ever asked for. I have to work hard. And, it's the problem with me is it is the fucking stupid fucking second, third generation kids here. They are horrendous people. No offense to those that are actually that do understand, but the majority don't. They don't understand the horror of starvation. I had a pot belly, as a child, but it wasn't because I was full.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma was 6'2". Her child, my mom, was 4'10", 5 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Not because she didn't,
Famine.
It's famine. It's that kind of shit that people don't understand. The first 3 years of my life, I was hungry.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, my dad, my dad was not able to be home because he was hunted by the commies, so he skipped town every few months.
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize how hard it is to raise a family when you can't be home.
Mm-hmm.
And
the dividing up along racial lines that people are so hell-bent on doing right now leads to completely untenable positions. Like, one of the things that drives me crazy is the U.S. is racist against black people. Which black people?
yeah,
Is it not strange that first-generation Nigerian Americans have a ridiculous command of medical and petroleum engineering fields, Is that not strange? If we were against black people, then why the fuck would we import a fuck ton of Nigerian petrochem experts to work in our oil industry? Wouldn't we just want not to have the black people?
Also, they capitalize certain groups and not other groups.
Yep. And
like capital black and lowercase white.
Yep. And if America was truly racist against black people, why is it that it's not just Nigerian? There's a fuck ton of other African countries that their immigrants to the United States have an absolutely ridiculous success rate.
Do you want to hear something?
Oh, go ahead.
I apologize. I
No.
apologize.
You go.
I've grown up with those people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Nigerians and all the people that can actually come from Africa, like the Africans, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know the biggest hatred is?
Inner city black, I'm guessing?
Yes. You know why?
Because they squandered.
They squander everything and they are entitled is the key word.
Mm-hmm.
They act entitled. It's not you pulling up your bootstraps like most Americans do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every other ethnic groups of Americans, regardless of how they get here, right? They pull up those bootstraps and they work their ass off.
Mm-hmm.
Even the illegal ones. I don't like illegals, but even them.
Yeah.
When Africans come here and they see the African American community, they're like, y'all a bunch of fucking useless people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't deal with the problem you have in your community. One, fatherlessness is the biggest problem. And two, mothers not being able to teach their kids to move on from the life they have. So it's a perpetual cycle of missing father, mothers teaching their kids without father, inputs, causing, decades of impoverishment and basically, what's the word? Emptiness for the society, right?
Yeah, it creates a hollow society, effectively.
Yeah.
It's absolutely infuriating, and you keep on seeing this. And what's ridiculous is that it's to the point where I can't remember the university. I'll have to look it up again. I know I bring this up fairly frequently, though, because I am still just absolutely fucking gobsmacked by the sheer goddamn audacity of this. There was a black student union that wrote a letter to the administration of their college, and actually I think it was of their university, chastising them and calling them racist because the school accepts too many of the wrong sorts of black people. That was what their letter said. Care to guess what the wrong sorts of black people were?
Nigerian?
First generation immigrant. They accepted too many black people from Africa, which was clearly meant as a racist slander against black people. Wait, what? You're accepting too many of the wrong type of black people, so you hate black... What the fuck? Again, if someone hated black people, they would hate the first generation Nigerian as much as they would hate the native-born son or daughter.
They hate African Americans.
Yeah.
If people actually had a racial hatred to the degree that they say that they do, then we wouldn't have the Nigerian petrochem. We wouldn't have healthcare have so many Nigerian, and I think Kenyans are another massive group in healthcare. Doctors and nurses just absolutely pouring into our system. If we hated these groups, there wouldn't be populations of them that, if it is hatred of black people, there wouldn't be black people that are massively successful like this. But we have that because it isn't a hatred of black people.
Yeah. 80% of Nigerians in the United States have higher educations than most white people in the United States.
Yep. When a first-generation immigrant is out competing you, it doesn't mean that the system is stacked against you. Because let's be completely fucking honest, if the system was against black people, or insert any group, if the system was against group X, there would not be some subsection of group X that has a issue with they don't have a common language when they first come to the United States. They don't have a lot of the benefits that people in the United States were born with. We wouldn't have that subgroup be successful. Because being an immigrant is harder than being a native-born son or daughter. Because if you have the common language, you are automatically at an easier position than someone who doesn't have a common language. And I don't think any of us would question that. Would any of you guys beg to differ that if you speak a common language with the people around you, you're at a better position than if you don't speak the common language?
Okay. You want to hear my story about languages, right?
Absolutely.
So when I first came to the United States in the 90s, right? I didn't speak a fucking lick of English. Because I was a child, I picked up quickly. I had my struggles, all that stuff. But my parents did not pick it up quickly because they were in the 30s when they came here, right? It was hard for them. They did what they could. And they eventually, got their stuff in order, whatever. But the thing is, like Sanguine said, it's hard for older generation to pick up language. But the thing about America is they don't punish you for that.
Nope.
They don't. America don't punish you for it. Like in Japan, y'all don't understand this. I lived in Japan. If you don't speak the language, you don't get a job. If you're in Philippines, y'all don't speak the language, y'all don't get a job. The kids might, like people that was my age, because we couldn't pick up the language very easy at the time, right? But I saw my parents struggle, try to keep me fed, my siblings fed, because they couldn't pick it up the language fast enough. My dad was a lot better than my mother, but it was only so much he can do, right? And like this one time, right, I came home from boot camp. My dad rented equipment from this one place. He called my dad Ho Chi Minh. They didn't understand. They didn't realize I understand English. My dad understand English. My dad, he returned equipment that had a problem, right? And they were saying, "Oh, this Ho Chi Minh motherfucker had broke this machine." Like the thing that it was not the part that he broke the machine, the part, right? It was that he called my dad Ho Chi Minh. Because you know why?
Because that was the fucker on the other side.
Yes, my dad fucking fought for the South. And he fought for the American side. and I
Yep.
was pissed. And my dad had to fucking calm me down. The lady at the front office had to calm me down. I said, she told me you need to leave. And I told him, like, you motherfucker, y'all don't know what the fuck my dad went through. Y'all don't know what fuck my dad fought. He fought for the South Side, and you fucking treat him like this shit. Fuck y'all. All y'all could go to hell. Yeah. And I was like 18 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I was 19. Sorry, but you know, it shit like that. You know, it's
Yeah, it's infuriating when people try to act like, oh, this group is entirely hated. No, they aren't.
Exactly.
Especially when we have examples in living memory of when different groups were actually hated.
Yep.
And there's a whole bunch of myths that also piss me off that keep on being circulated. Like, oh, notice how we had Japanese internment camps, but everyone was perfectly fine with the German Americans and the Italian Americans?
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone happen to know what we did with the German Americans and the Italian Americans?
Put them in camps.
Same shit.
And we had a registry of all the German Americans and Italian Americans.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because we did the same shit, you fucks. We went, oh, we're at war? Oh, you're first generation or at most second or third generation? Yeah, we're going to keep a closer eye on you. If you pass that third generation, okay, now we're going to start trusting you a bit more. And, oh, you want to join up in the military? Fine. Mr. What's your last name? Okay, Messerschmitt.
Well,
Mr. Messerschmitt, you are not going to be in the in the Western Front. You're going to be in the Eastern Front. Have fun fighting the Japanese.
I don't know if you guys have heard this, but George Takei was in a concentration camp.
Yep.
George Takei was a fucking douchebag. George Takei is the equivalent of fucking like what's the word when somebody has been like held up too long, held in a
Cooped up.
held by the captor too long. Fuck, what's the word?
Kevin?
Stockholm Syndrome?
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, George
right.
Takei has Stockholm syndrome. So
Oh, and that just reminded me of something else that I wanted to say. The thing that pisses me off the most about Black History Month is it is a second and unfortunately far more successful attempt at something that was done before. Does anyone happen to know what Woodrow Wilson did when it comes to history?
negative. I would like to be educated, please.
Woodrow Wilson was, of course, one of the presidents of the United States. He was also a rather well-known academic before he became president. One of the things that he did was he wrote what he called the definitive history of the United States, if I remember correctly. And because it was written by someone who was so well-known in academic circles, and because he became president as well, this became almost the foundation of American history for a little bit. There was one major thing that he left out of his history of America. Anyone care to guess what that was?
The expansion of the United States into French territory?
Nope, pretty much every major black figure in American history.
Say again, I'm sorry.
Pretty much every single major black figure in American history. I shit you not. He left out major black figures. He left out
Frederick Douglass?
Yep, Frederick Douglass and people like George Washington Carver and shit like that. He excised them from history books because he wrote his history of the United States. He completely just removed any sort of mention of them. And the ones that he couldn't remove, he massively downplayed their importance. so that he could remove them from the history, remove them from being talked about. Because Woodrow Wilson was actually a proper fucking racist. And as
Yes, he
Check Your
was.
Logic said, yes, he showed Birth of a Nation at the White House.
You guys ever hear the movie? You guys ever hear of the movie Freedom Writers?
Yep.
Yeah, the school is named after him in that movie, and in real life too. And it's about racial tension.
Yep. And also, anyone care to guess whether the U.S. military was segregated before World War I? Cryptic, do you happen to know? You should know, given that you were a Marine.
Go ahead, dude. I'm just gonna listen to.
The U.S. military was not segregated prior to Woodrow Wilson.
Nope.
Which is why, when you look at one of the best places that you can go to learn about this, and I'm not just saying this because Cryptic is here, is the Marine Corps Museum in Quantico, Virginia.
Been there.
We have a celebrity in chat.
The Marine Corps Museum is absolutely amazing. I love the Marine Corps Museum. And it is absolutely fascinating. If you don't like most museums, there's a fair chance that you will like the Marine Corps Museum.
Yeah.
But in the Marine Corps Museum, you can see the entire timeline of the Marine Corps. And it shows paintings and drawings and pictures and shit like that from all the different major events in Marine Corps history. And from the earliest depictions up until about World War I, you see white guys, black guys, native guys, fucking every race, creed, and color.
People don't realize that the Tock were Marines. All of them were Marines.
Yep. And okay.
Right, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm okay.
You first.
No. You finish your story. I
You
apologize. Nope. I'm gonna say.
For fuck's sake, you.
I'll punch you right in the dick. Let's go.
But yeah, it's a fantastic museum. Go see it. And the military was not segregated until Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson expanded Jim Crow laws to the federal government to include the military. And from Woodrow Wilson until, I want to say it was, I'm blanking on his name, took over from FDR. Dropped the bomb.
Churchill?
I failed history class, so
I don't know why I'm blanking on his goddamn name.
I wasn't taught these things in school.
wow.
FDR's VP that then
Truman.
took over.
Kyler
Truman.
says Truman.
Yes. Truman was the one who desegregated the military again.
Yes, he also ordered. Never mind.
He ordered the dropping of the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Right, but he had a very good reason for it, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was one of the best options that they had available, if not the best option they had available.
Correct, because he saw the numbers. We would lost over another 100. We would lost another million U.S. Casualty if he didn't do that.
Yeah, it was 1 million U.S. casualties, and I want to say 1.5 to 2 times minimum of Japanese.
Yes, and holding that much territory would have fucking killed our economy also.
Yep.
So what he did was he's like, you know what, we need to end this war quickly. You know what? They can demonize him all you want. He did what was best for the country.
Yep. And we had far more fucked up weapons that we were also in development of, and Cryptic just fell out. I will click him back in once he returns into the back. But we had far more fucked up weapons that were in development as well. Like, are any of you familiar with fire bats? Have any of you heard about fire bats?
No.
Nah, be negative.
Cryptic, have you heard about fire bats?
I'm sorry, I came back. I yeeted myself, so.
Yeah, not a problem. I added you back in. You're all good to go. Have you ever heard of fire bats?
Negative, bro. Sorry, could you educate me?
Okay, so fire bats were one of the more fucked up methods that we were thinking of using if it came down to attacking Japan.
Sure.
A large chunk of Japan had wooden structures.
Oh, yes.
So we came up with this really fucked up idea that in all the tests, yeah, it would actually fucking work, which is insane. Where we would, it was a combination, if I remember correctly, of rigging and forcing bats to consume certain chemicals that made them pretty much flying incendiary devices.
Sorry, literal fire bats, you're saying?
Literal fire bats. Because what would happen is we would get these bats that we would get out and feed all these different chemicals to make them so that they could burst into fire at the right time. And we would just drop bombs full of these bats. That sounds weird, but what the bombs were meant to do is the bombs would fall for a while, a parachute would deploy, and the sides of the bomb would open, allowing the bats to fly out of the bomb. The bats would then find the roofs and eaves of buildings to rest under once day was hitting. Meaning that you would have...
Kyler in chat says they accidentally burned down a town in the southwest somewhere during the testing of the idea.
Oh yeah, they did. So these bats would end up setting up camp in the roofs and eaves of different buildings in order to avoid the sunlight as they were resting for the day. And they were all primed to burst into flames early in the morning after they would have bunked down for the night effectively. So millions of these bats were planned to have been released in Japan, burning down massive sections of cities, if not entire goddamn cities. The death toll would have been fucking insane.
Well,
The damage would have been fucking insane because these were planned to be dropped on every major Japanese city.
I think Tokyo was the third target once.
Yep, Tokyo was one of the targets that we had as an option.
It's
We
just,
did- We decided against Tokyo because it would have been too great an insult.
Yeah.
So we were afraid that if we did bomb Tokyo, that the Japanese would never surrender and they would be effectively eternal enemies of the United States unless they were all killed to the last.
You want to hear something that's fucked up about that part, right?
Mhm.
So, I visited the area where the Japanese decided to throw themselves off the cliff in Okinawa. Their reason was that the propaganda was so strong that they said that when the United States took over, they would kill them all, right?
That we would rape their women, eat their babies, and defile their corpses. Yes.
Yes, yeah. So when I went to that area, I saw a lot of names.
Mm-hmm.
The people that threw themselves off that cliff. And I saw that cliff. You ain't surviving when you get thrown off that cliff. Trust me. It was over 200 feet tall. Once you land, you're dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
There were an insane number of propaganda posters that had American soldiers depicted as
Demons.
different sorts of Oni, different sorts of demons, and
Mhm.
I think there were a number that even had them depicted as effectively the king of the underworld, Yama.
Yep. I saw all of it. Unfortunately, those people died very horrific.
Mhm.
Yeah, I took that tour when I was there, and it was just horrible. How brainwashed a society is. Then I think about it now, it's like that's exactly what the Chinese are being brainwashed like. So,
Mm-hmm.
I
But yeah,
guarantee you.
go ahead.
So I guarantee you, if we ever get to a war, and the West ever get to war with China, a quarter of the population is going to die because of that.
Oh yeah, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, just because they're going to kill themselves because they've been so brainwashed.
Yep. The best chance that we have of avoiding absolutely horrendous loss of life when it comes to a war like that is if we're able to absolutely shatter the nuclear stalemate. And
Right.
what I mean by that is if we're able to develop a method that is almost complete protection against nukes, because that's what's keeping the world balanced right now, but that's also limiting what any power can do. If the US were to develop a means of being able to break that stalemate, then it would again be the US like it was shortly after World War II, where for that window of time, right up until fucking spies and the goddamn communists in the government that were able to infiltrate gave plans for nukes to the Soviets, where we were the only game in town when it came to nuclear armament. And that's a good position to be in.
And boy, did we play.
Yeah. That's the position that you want to be in as a world power. You want to be the only one that has the massive weapon. The fact that everyone has it does mean that wars are limited, and it does prevent superpowers from overreaching, but it also means that wars will be absolute bloodbaths if two superpowers get into a war. Because there's no way to prevent it from being an absolute bloodbath. And the biggest problem is that if it is an absolute bloodbath, one of the sides will reach a point where it's going, there's no fucking point in us holding back because we're going to die either way. Might as well take them with us.
I'm a good.
Say again?
So I'll take whoever's on, and I'm an engineer, so I'll take care of whoever in the building. So.
Nice. But yeah, it just drives me crazy whenever I hear, well, people are racist against this group. Why are there members of that group that are succeeding? And there were people that were successful before Jim Crow, and there were people that were successful under Jim Crow. Yeah, that's because there's this almost truism about the world and about history in general. You don't need to make a law against something that won't happen. The only reason why Jim Crow ever became a law was that if not for Jim Crow being in place, people would have been hiring blacks. People would have been serving blacks. People would have been going to black-run businesses. If they would not have been, then there would have been no point in mandating that no one be allowed to serve black people in the same establishment that they serve white people. If people would not have been willing to go to black-run businesses, there would have been no need to mandate that you were not allowed to go to black-owned businesses. If people would not have been willing to hire black people, then there would not have been a law saying that you cannot hire black people. It's kind of like, is there a law anywhere saying that you can't have a giraffe fly an airplane? The answer is no. Anyone care to guess why?
It's impossible.
Yes, exactly. You don't need a law saying you can't do something that can't be done.
It's like divided by 0.
Yeah. There's no point in those laws, so they don't happen. The fact that there was the law means that people would have, if not for the law, been willing to do what the law was outlawing. So it just drives me crazy every time that I hear someone say, well, it was so racist. People wouldn't have done it if not for them being forced. No, people would have done it, except they were forced not to. You're fucking wrong. How do you get that wrong? How do you get so wrong? You state the exact opposite of what you're trying. The fuck? And exactly, how would it get in the cockpit? It couldn't. It's just like how I said before that I have no problem if someone makes a decision, whether they decide yes, whether they decide no, that's their own choice. I only have a problem when someone makes a decision due to bad information or bad argument. It's one thing to say that you don't want to fly because you're afraid of heights, or you really prefer the scenic route of trains or road trips. That's perfectly fine. I have no problem with you saying that you don't want to fly because of that. I have a massive problem if you say that the reason why you don't want to fly is because you're terrified that the nuclear reactor that powers the jet will go critical while you're in the air, and suddenly it's a flying Chernobyl and it's going to crash and blow up somewhere, just nuking Middle America. I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say?
What?
That is not a thing that can happen. There is no nuclear generator powering a jet. It will not go critical while you're in air because there isn't one to go critical, and it will not go nuclear when you hit the ground because, again, there is no fucking nuke in the goddamn airplane.
Isn't that the subs anyway?
Say again?
Isn't that the submarines?
Yes, we have nuclear submarines.
Yeah.
But I just use that as an example because it's something that everyone kind of goes, yeah, that would be fucking insane if someone said that they didn't want to fly because they're terrified that the nuke was going to go critical. Because everyone knows that there isn't a nuke in an airplane. But there's a lot of different things that end up being the nuke in the airplane example for me. If you don't want to eat GMOs because you're terrified that they're going to alter your DNA, that isn't how they fucking work.
Well, I'm wondering if the people who are against GMOs are also against in vitro fertilization.
See, the thing that I'm always fascinated by is the people that are against GMOs but love ruby red grapefruit.
Yeah.
Do you know how ruby red grapefruits came to be, Johnny?
Isn't that radioactive?
Yes, it's a practice known as gamma farming. And what gamma farming is that you get this massive farm and you get a gamma particle emitter. and you plunk that gamma particle emitter in the center of your field, and you plant your crops, and then you turn on your gamma particle emitter, and within a certain radius of the gamma particle emitter, everything will be fucking dead. It'll just fucked. Nothing will grow because it's getting way too much radiation. Slightly further, you'll get a shit ton of mutations. Some of them interesting, some of them really fucked up, some of them kill the thing. A bit farther out, you'll get a lot slower rate of mutation, which makes it easier to select which ones are beneficial, which ones are negative, and which ones are just interesting. And then far enough out, there's no effect. And ruby red grapefruits were in that, I think, third band of radiation. We went, ooh, that looks interesting. Can we eat it without killing ourselves? Hey, we can. Let's actually just produce these things, and they started growing them. And yes, selective breeding is the most ancient method of genetic manipulation that we have. And that isn't a problem. GMOs aren't scary. Can someone make something scary with GMOs? Abso-fucking-lutely. But GMOs in and of themselves are not. It would be scary if someone decided that they wanted to stick the gene for TTX into apples, for instance. That would be goddamn terrifying. The good thing is, no one's trying to do that at the moment. And if someone does, you can kind of figure that out pretty quickly. Oh, why is it that every time someone plucks an apple from this tree and takes a bite, they die of an incredibly deadly neurotoxin? Let's check. Is the apple containing that? Yep, the apple's containing that. Okay, let's destroy this apple. Done. But it seems like we've somewhat wound down after my rant. Does everyone else feel that way?
I don't know. I just didn't have anything to add.
No worries there. I'm just checking if anyone has anything that they want to get off their chest and chat about real quick, or whether we should call it a night and say goodbye to these good ladies and gentlemen that have been watching us.
I think we have had a good conversation tonight. We might want to end it on a high note before we kill them.
My kitties are cute GMOs, Kyler.
Yes.
Nice.
They're sweeties. Oh, Chuck wants to sing happy birthday to him.
All right. Well, have it, Jack, right?
Check.
Yeah, check.
check.
Watch it.
So, shall I count us off?
Sure.
He wants to kill us. He wants us to kill him. Sure.
Okay, I'm going to count to 3, and we're going to start when it would be 4. That makes sense to everyone?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Happy
birthday
to
you.
Happy
birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Jack. Happy birthday to you.
You fucked up by asking for this shit.
My cat says happy birthday too.
And with that, let's go around for parting words. Let's start with Shady. Do you have anything to say to send these people off?
Nothing. I'm sorry, I'm just hungry.
No problem. Let's go Kyiverdam next.
I'm not sure what to say. I had fun.
That's always good
And
to
you
hear.
made good points, Sanguine.
Thank you.
And you have interesting stories, Cryptic.
Yeah.
And I like your avatar, Johnny.
Well, thank you.
And hi, Shady.
Hi.
Cryptic,
My cat says bye.
Oh.
you want to go next?
Oh, me? Okay.
Yep.
Come and watch my stream at which heard Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, of course. Again, I'm kidding. I don't stream, so y'all good.
Nice. Then I'll have the penultimate parting words be the apprentice keeper himself.
In the immortal words of Daffy Duck, I don't like pain. It hurts me.
Quack.
And I'm not going to leave off on my standard tonight. Instead, I will just say Teddy Roosevelt was 100% correct when it came to the hyphenated American. And I wish that we get back to that point.
I agree.
And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Adios, muchachas.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.